Now let's be honest with each other, insecurities suck, but it's something that we all deal with. And I've honestly dealt with so many insecurities growing up, and I lost so much confidence in myself. I want to take today to talk to you guys a little bit about the types of insecurities that I've dealt with growing up, how I've been able to overcome them. But then again, I'm not perfect. I still have insecurities today. It's just human nature. So if you're dealing with something right now that you feel insecure about, just know that you're not alone. And I hope that this video helps in any way. So let's get into it. So when it comes to insecurities, I want you to understand that this is something that we all deal with. And a lot of the times we don't really see other people's insecurities because it's something that they keep internally. No one is really ever vulnerable and talks openly about their insecurities, especially when they're going through them. That's kind of the time when we just hide in our own insecurity and we just hope for that one day that we can break out and feel more confident about ourselves. And a lot of these things are internal, but can also be caused through the external. Take social media, for instance. We are consistently looking at different people's lives on a day-to-day basis, whether, someone moved out or someone's going through a different change in their life that makes it seem like they're ahead of us, that makes it seem like they have a better life than us. And whether you want to believe it or not, these types of things start to play a role in the way that we feel about ourselves. And a quote that I recently heard that really puts into perspective how insecurities are internal states that no one will ever hate you with the intensity that you can hate yourself. That quote was so powerful. I remember when I first heard it, I instantly resonated with it because it reminded me of when I was a little kid. This is the part of the video where it kind of gets a little difficult for me to talk about because it's kind of that point where you kind of need to let your guard down and really let people understand what you're going through, because I know that there's someone out there that might be going through the things that I went through as a little kid and they might need to hear this message, but being in front of a camera talking about your insecurities is definitely a new for me, so bear with me. Now, this isn't something that I really talk about too often, but when I was a little kid, I somehow got the short end of the stick and was continuously bullied for most of my youth. And this is something that actually multiplied in my life when I moved to Canada from Colombia. Within my first 3 weeks of being in Canada, I actually got put into school because if I didn't go to school, I would have actually fallen behind. Now, mind you, I had no idea how to speak English, so that right there was an insecurity of itself that I didn't know how to deal with. But I just remember going into the classroom my first day and not even knowing how to ask the teacher where I had to sit. And I just remember everyone staring at me and it felt so weird. It felt so uncomfortable. And I just didn't feel like I was in a place that I could be myself. I felt like I had to be different in order to fit in. Instantly, all these insecurities that I had even back in Colombia when it came to bullying started to come up again, and all of a sudden I realized, well, if I don't know what these people are saying to me, I don't even know if they're bullying me or if they're actually trying to be my friend. And right there and then was when I got hit with my second wave of bullying. The way that I actually dealt with this was eating. I started to eat a lot and I gained a lot of weight growing up. And I think this was the biggest insecurity that I had to deal with growing up. Being overweight as a kid is interesting. It's not something that I think I'd ever want to experience again. Even though I learned a lot back then, it was definitely something that I had to overcome internally because I denied it. I really didn't realize that I was gaining weight. I just kept on eating the way that I was eating. I kept on living my life the way that I was living. And it just kept on making the problem bigger and bigger every single time. And I will never forget this day. I was upstairs in this house actually, playing video games with one of my friends. And I just remember sitting there with a bag of Doritos beside me, playing FIFA with him. And that's when I looked down and I realized, like, what the hell am I doing? I was not taking care of the issues that were beating me up internally. I just kept on hiding away from them. And that moment of sitting there inside on a very beautiful summer day made me realize that I had to take action, that I had to make a change. And that leads me to the biggest thing that you guys need to realize with your insecurities. There's always going to be a change that you can make that's going to help you overcome this insecurity. But the first step is acknowledging the insecurity, acknowledging that this is something that's actually beating you up and that you need to overcome it. Once you make that decision, that's when you can start looking for solutions. So when it comes to you overcoming your insecurities, the first thing I need you to do is to acknowledge the insecurity. We can't always run away from our problems. There's always going to be something that's going to remind us of this problem, and the longer we take to deal with it, the more time that we give it to grow. I look back at my weight loss journey and I think, wow, if I would have made the decision maybe 2 to 3 years earlier, I could have accomplished more when it comes to soccer. I was actually cut from a soccer team because I wasn't fast enough. And that's something that I could have fixed if I would have just acknowledged the fact that I was overweight and I needed to do something about it. So the first step is to acknowledge your insecurity. The second step is to cancel out the outside noise. Stop caring about other people's opinions or other people's lives. The only person's opinion that you should worry about is your own. If you're comparing yourself to people on social media, understand that social media is only a small clip of that person's life. And the last thing I need you to do is to surround yourself with positive people. It's gonna help you get rid of these insecurities, because the more that you're able to surround yourself with true, loving, and caring people, the more that you're able to work on yourself and become the best version of yourself. But that's about it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you found value in today's video, please make sure to give it a like. And if you're not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you on the next one. Peace.